Can photographs do? Well, US military commanders are worried about the effects of showing pictures of dead soldiers, and they want them banned. Well, for more on this, let's now cross live to RT's Priya Sridhar. She's in our Washington studio. So, Priya, what are the press and free speech activists making of all of this?
Hi, Bill. Well, you know what? I think reporters aren't sure what to think about this. So not too long ago, I told you guys about how the Pentagon was attempting to do background checks on reporters seeking to embed with military units. And while that idea got canned, it seems like a new way to censor reporters in military zones has replaced it. Now the U.S. military is attempting to ban pictures of troops killed in eastern Afghanistan. So what's the deal? Is the military trying to hide what's going on in Afghanistan? Well, joining me to help figure this out is Michael McLeod-Ball from the American Civil Liberties Union. Michael, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So, first of all, what do you make of this news? Do you think that the military is trying to kind of hide what's going on over there?
Well, sure. I think just like any institution, they're trying to control the message that gets out. The question for us is whether what they're trying to do is constitutional. We have a First Amendment that protects the right of the press to publish that which they feel is newsworthy. And to the extent that the military is attempting to clamp down on U.S. media organizations and what they can broadcast into the United States, it seems to me that they need to have a compelling public interest to do so.
And so, has this happened before in any other war situations, or is this kind of the first time that we've seen the military really trying to control the message this much? I had mentioned before that they had also considered doing background checks on reporters.
Well, no, I think the military has always, to one degree or another, tried to control the message that comes out about the war. And we all know, historically within the lifetimes of many of us, the Vietnam War, there was a great deal of coverage of that, and it was referred to as the TV war, the first TV war. Well, I think ever since that time, the military, the U.S. military in particular, has tried to limit the amount of information that would get out. And it's up to the free press in the United States to make sure that they publish unfettered information.
So, do you think this is constitutional? And what kinds of checks and balances are in place to make sure that what's going on with the military is legal? Well,
in our view, there needs to be a compelling public interest in order to restrict this right to publish this information. So once the press has the information, whether they're embedded or otherwise, they ought to be able to make their own editorial decisions about whether or not to publish. Now, everybody sympathizes with the privacy rights of the soldiers and their families, and that's an important factor. Whether that constitutes a compelling public interest or not, I think is something that reasonable minds can disagree on. It seems to me that the press ought to be able to make that decision, though, not the government.
And so, is the privacy issue the main reason that the military is giving regarding these photos? One thing that struck me was the timing of this. General McChrystal recently asked for more troops to Afghanistan. So to me, it almost seemed like maybe they were trying to kind of help their campaign in a way to get more troops over there by preventing the American public from seeing the deaths that were happening over in Afghanistan.
Well, I don't have any inside information about what the real reasons are for the military's actions in this case. We do know, historically, the government, not just the government, all organizations will try to present themselves in the best possible light. And so to the extent that there is a public portion to this military operation, it would be understandable that they would be taking steps on that basis. However, from their public comments, they've said that they are interested in preserving the privacy rights and they have concern for the families, which I'm sure they also do as well.
And right now, the Obama administration has blocked pictures of detainee torture, and I know that's in that decision is being debated in the Supreme Court right now. What's the status on that, and is that another example of kind of this censorship issue that we've been talking about?
Well, the case is before the Supreme Court. The court is deciding whether or not it will hear that case. Originally the Obama administration had said that they agreed with us, that they were going to release these photos, and that there was public value in the release of these photos. It all started years ago with a Freedom of Information Act suit that the ACLU initiated. Well, now the Obama administration, at least several months ago, reverse field and decided that they wanted to try to restrict the release of these photos. We think the photos' value is in showing to the public, the American public, the world, the extent that torture became ingrained as part of our foreign policy during the previous administration, and that only by making a clean breast of things can we really begin to turn the page on that and to show and to give credit, really, for the Obama administration for stopping that policy of torture now.
Well, we'll be keeping you updated on that Supreme Court case from here in Washington, D.C. But for now, Bill, it's back to you.
Priya Shida there, live in Washington. Thanks very much indeed for that.